Good morning, friends. It's Wednesday, January the 8th, 32 degrees at 10 a.m. in the morning, and Lippy's about to freeze to death. And that's on the onset of what's headed to the south. So where am I headed? To the store. There's 5 items that I need. I need those 5 items. You would think that I was preparing for the snowstorm of the century, knowing we don't get snow. I mean, 1/4 of an inch, and we're trying to build snowmen, but we're getting the ice and the sleet, and my eyes are watering from the cold. I went out there and checked on the chickens, but these 5 items we forgot when Bud went grocery shopping. I want to say it was last week, and I totally forgot to put it on the list. I thought I did, but he said on his list it wasn't on there, so who knows who did what. It's kind of hazy in the last week, guys, so I am headed to get these things, and when we get back, I'm going to make some bread. Yes, I want to get some bread in the house. Got a little story to tell about the bread and how I've come up with a recipe. It's not mine, but I'm trying to think. I saw it on social media 2 weeks ago. It was right after Christmas, and if I can remember who it was an elderly lady on YouTube. I will definitely, give notice and a thank you to her if I can find out who she is. It came up and recommended. So anyway, I think it was supposed to come into my news feed because, guys, I was trying between running to the hospital and doing all that I've been doing. I still wanted to make Christmas semi-traditional for the grandkids. Now, our dinner was just gumbo, and then we had the deviled eggs and some sides. I made a dressing, baked a little ham, and we had a turkey breast from Thanksgiving still in the freezer. So Buddy took care of that, and I just did the gumbo because I did that a couple of days prior. Anyway, I wanted to make candy, and Divinity is the grandkids' favorite. Well, y'all know that my 23, 24-year-old KitchenAid has been back and forth to the emergency room, Mr. Buddy's emergency room, quite a few times in the last 2 years, because that sucker got some hours on it. Well, if y'all are familiar with making Divinity or have seen my recipes, you go from the stove to the mixer, and you work kind of fast, and then the mixer does the work for you. Well, I'm pouring my syrup slowly, and I noticed that the tune of the KitchenAid started singing a tune like the Opry. I said, it just needs to get worked in. Yeah, all of a sudden I said, well, that wheel ain't spinning much. Let me turn that heater down some. My feet's warm now. And I was like, something wrong. Buddy come in, I said, does this thing look like it's spinning a little slow? And he looked at what I had it on. I had it on a number 8. And it was actually working on about a number 2 speed, like you would do bread. I said, oh no. So I tried to get it out, and I'm trying to mix it with my hand. That's not working. I said, I'll get my hand mixer. Now, my hand mixer is probably 30 years old. So I get my hand mixer. I said, oh, this, at least it'll do this batch, because he said the KitchenAid cannot be operated on again, because then all of a sudden you could smell something, and the little wheels, you could hear them locking up, like the motor just took a crap. I get the hand mixer out, I turn it on, and it hits that Divinity, whoop, and it made like a backwards turn. Y'all, my beaters flew out. Buddy's laughing. I'm trying to catch them. I said, I must have not had it snapped in. I'm snapping them in. I put it on. What happened? They separated again, and that sucker locked up. Nobody got Divinity. Nobody got any candy that needed mixing. It was more like I made the cornflake cereal. That just took a spoon. Let's see, I made some pies. Nothing that required a mixer or that I could do with my hands. So Lippy has 0 mixers. So I will be saving for a KitchenAid. And that'll come sooner than later, because I gotta have my mixer back, right? Because I've been making bread. So I had been looking. I didn't want what do they call them breads that you cook in the ceramic things, the pots? I didn't want that. I wanted like loaf bread. Well, I couldn't find what I was looking for. No big deal. So I guess when you search things, YouTube has a memory, so hence why it said recommended. So I'll have to see if it's even in my history, because that's been a while back. But anyhow, I wrote it down, and it is so stupid simple. Well, we're making that when I get home. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it using all-purpose or bread flour, because really it doesn't matter. But I'm also going to mill enough grain, and I'm going to make a loaf with it. Because all you need is a bowl and a fork, which I can use a fork, or I can use my dough, what is it? My dough spoon? Y'all know, it's a Lippy thing. It's the dough thing. So we may do both. I don't know. But it warrants a recipe to share with you guys. And let's just see, all-purpose or bread flour, to see how this will do using my fresh milled grain. And if it works, I can continue to make bread until I can replace my KitchenAid. Because I'm curious if any of you noticed where the KitchenAid has always said in that back corner of the counter, there is a Mardi Gras arrangement now. And so far, and I'm almost through with the comments, guys. Y'all are just amazing. But no one yet has said, hey, where's your mixer? So obviously, no one noticed that it ain't in that corner no more. So I kept all the attachments, of course, because I've got a lot of attachments over the 23, 24 years. So I kept all of them, and that's why I'm going to go back with a KitchenAid. I'm going to probably go with the, I had the 4-quart or the 4.5. I'm going to go with the 5.5. I don't want to go with the big one that you have to clip into this little nook and cranny and crank it up. No, I just need a mixer. You know, your standard KitchenAid, so all my attachments will fit back on it. And boy, they've come out with colors too. I'm actually looking at the champagne white. It's like a off-white. It's very pretty. Same price as a white one. I didn't really want a color, but so I've got that saved in my cart. Walmart is the same price as Amazon, so I'm thinking that KitchenAid across the board is going to be the same price no matter where you look. So that's the future plans, but for right now, if this bread recipe works, guys, not only is it going to make me happy and Buddy happy, but it also will help some of you who may not have a KitchenAid and you have, you know, crippling hands, because we don't have to knead and do all of that. So I'm excited to try this, and I want to try it with with y'all, and we'll just see how it turns out. You know, kind of getting back into the groove of things. Oh, that eye is watering. I have dry sockets sometimes, and I have to use eye drops. Ever since I had that laser surgery, which that's been 8 years now, 7 years, I think. For some reason, my eyes water every now and then, especially in the cold. But it's a beautiful, sunny, bright day, 32 degrees. So the wind's blowing a little bit, so it's probably like about a 27 wind chill. So not bad, but too cold for Lippy. And, we got an email from our power company yesterday and in text. I saw it in text before my email, stating to prepare for power outages. I said, well, that's a given. A bird can pee on the wire and we lose power. Y'all know how we are with power. So they're putting it out there to prepare for power outages. And on top of it, since Monday, our internet company has been changing out lines. Now, I don't know if it's fiber optic lines or they're just changing out the lines with updated ones. I've not seen anything being dug up, you know, like underground. But every day for this week, every morning, we lose internet about 7 o'clock, and about 4 o'clock in the evening, they'll send a text. We wasn't able to complete the blah, 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 but you do have internet. So they're turning it off. So when I post this, it's probably going to be uploaded after the 4 o'clock mark. Now, when we lose power tomorrow, there won't be no videos, which I know we will, or Friday. So today is probably going to be a little bit longer video, but at least I get to spend time with y'all, try this bread recipe, and, you know, fellowship. I know Lippy needs it. And I'm looking forward to spending the time with y'all in the kitchen. So I'm going to tootle down the road, get my little 5 items. I think that's all that's on my list. I'm not one to see something and grab it. I'm pretty structured on what I have in my list. But I'm not going to tell you that I may not get myself and Mr. Buddy a little extra treat or two, since we subject to be locked down for 2 days. It's a mind thing. You know, when you're locked down and you're out of your norm, you just want a little treat of something. It just makes you feel good. So I may find something, may not find nothing, because we got everything we need, and we have some things in the house we won't. But what I'm going to get, like half and half, that's a need. If y'all know Lippy, that's a need. I've got a half, let's see, I had a half gallon, so I got about half of that left. Y'all know with what's coming, I need a gallon of that half and half to get me through for my coffee. I don't drink that much half and half, but I like to prepare for the unknown. And when someone suggests that you can't get on the road and you may not have power, oh, you can bet that coffee pot's going to be running. If that generator don't run nothing else, it's going to run that coffee pot. My life depends on it, y'all. All right, I'll meet y'all back in the kitchen in about an hour. Y'all, I made it back home. Got me a cup of coffee. It's 36 degrees at 12:30 in the afternoon. And the temperatures are supposed to start decreasing. Yeah, and you can feel the sun's out, but when you're outside, you can just smell that frigid cold. And I'm not cold, and I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But as I was coming home, I thought about the bread recipe, and I said, instead of making with the recipe that the lady had, and I looked it up while my coffee was making, I can't find it. I don't know. I don't know, but she was a nice lady. looks like she's got a canning kitchen. I'm thinking that's a canning kitchen. I don't know. But I decided to make it just with the all-purpose or bread flour and not test it against the grains. One, I don't feel like doing two. I want to see if it's going to be worth it just to do the standard for you guys, because a lot of you may not have a mill to mill your own grain. So staying true to the recipe that I jotted down in the hospital, and I'm telling you, it's like chicken scratch. We're going to see if we can make it work. I'm very curious, and like I said, since I don't have a KitchenAid mixer, and y'all know that my hands are very limited, I want to try this. If this works, guys, to get me by, then this weekend, I'm going to try it with my milled grain and see, you know, kind of test the two. But I don't want to use up a bunch of different ingredients if it's going to be a flop on my end. Hers wasn't a flop, but that doesn't mean that mine won't be. So I'm going to drop the camera and I'm going to show you what I've done. This is very easy. Now, she used a kitchen fork, like a dinner fork. I'm going to use my dough whisk. Yeah, I remembered what it was called. 5 minutes from now, I may not remember. Oh, y'all can see in here, in this measuring cup, I've got 1 cup of warm water. This is warm, hot tap water. I did temp it. It's 110. So that's where you want to be. Some people, she said, uses room temperature. I'm old school, so I want warm water. You don't want hot water. It'll kill your yeast. And she did 1 teaspoon, look like a heaping teaspoon of yeast. Now, this is the yeast that I'm using, is the quick rise. So there's 1 teaspoon. And she did a tablespoon of sugar. And that was 1 cup of water. And there's my teaspoon. I'll give it a mix and we're going to let this bloom. While we wait on the yeast to bloom, I'm going to set it aside. And this is going to be the bowl that we mix the dough in and the bowl that we rise the dough in. There is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And now we're going to add the salt to this. There's a teaspoon and a half. Very simple ingredients. And I'm going to get this mixed well. It bloomed up nicely. While it was blooming, let me show you something. I went and picked some carrots to go with our sheet pan. And I washed them. I didn't take the skins off because I grew these, so I know they're safe. But I grabbed 4 nice-sized carrots to go on our sheet pan dinner tonight. All right, we're going to get this mixed. The lady said in less than 2 hours you can have bread. Well, unless you're Lippy and you like to talk for the 1.5 hours. But let's go down to the bowl and we're going to see how this so simple bread recipe turns out. I don't know, guys. We'll find out together. Okay. I tell you what, I'm going to get the rest of that out. What I should have done is like I would do my normal bread and bloomed my liquid here and then added my dry ingredients. But I didn't. Okay. And now, what shocked me was it was very moist and sticky. But she used a dinner fork, so okay. All right, mine's not as moist as hers, and I think she added more water. We're gonna see. It's not gonna hurt. We don't have a lot of ingredients that we're wasting. I'm just gonna guesstimate a couple of tablespoons. Because when I tell you hers was not soupy, but it was very moist. Okay. That looks about right. Like I said, I've never seen bread like this. But if it works, guys, this is a bonus to all of us. I just wish I knew the lady's name. where I could thank her. Okay. Oh yeah, it's sticky just like hers. So maybe I was just a little shy on my water. Okay, we're gonna cover it up and we're gonna let it double in size and we'll put it over on the stove. Just like that. Now she said it took about an hour. So let's say an hour, it took what, 10 minutes for that to bloom and say mix, so we're at an hour and 10 minutes. And then she let it do a second rise in the loaf pan, but the loaf pan she used was not a standard. It looked a little bit smaller, which I do have different sizes. So I'm probably gonna pull out the smaller loaf pan instead of the standard because hers definitely wasn't. So if she let it rise in the pan and baked off 20 minutes, it's about 2 hours complete from start to finish. Not too bad, and you see, no dishes. Got a bowl, a mixing cup, a dough whisk. I almost forgot, and that's it. So I'm real curious about this. So I'll meet you back in an hour when that doubles in size. I almost forgot something, y'all. Okay, I had received a lot of Christmas cards leading up to Christmas. Y'all know what the Sunday before Christmas and current to today, what's been going on. Well, today when I left the store, I drove to my post office box to check my mail. And in it was a lot of Christmas cards that I didn't get until today. So I just want to go through and show you guys, and you'll know who sent what, because I had already displayed the other ones when Christmas was up. And this one actually looks handmade. I'm not sure, but very, very pretty cards. I love the notes inside. Inspirational, and I thank you. So I wanted to make sure that I did take notice of your cards today when I finally checked my P.O. box. So to the ones that sent prior to Christmas and to you guys that I just opened the mail today, Buddy and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Have you ever worn a lemon bath? Y'all look. Can y'all see that? I squirted my lemon onto my sheet pan dinner. I wasn't looking. I was setting the coffee cup down, and when I squeezed, it covered me. So I have a new fragrance. It's called lemon. But it didn't rise like I thought it would. But she might have had a smaller bowl. Because remember, I put a teaspoon of yeast. I think I would have done a teaspoon and a half. But we're going to see, because we got to put it into the loaf pan now. I measured. This is smaller than my standard bread pan. It doesn't have a size on it. I did spray it. So we're going to go ahead and get it in the loaf pan. And it's got to rise again. So let's see how this thing does. Now I am going to use this silicone spatula because it is sticky, guys. But that's the way hers look, just like this. I could have went smaller pan, I think. I don't know. I just know that hers wasn't a standard bread pan. We're going to see. I'm going to get the rest of this out. It's not going to hurt. But we'll be, once it comes out of the oven, we're going to see. And I'll be able to tell if it needs a little bit more yeast. And I'm thinking it will. But we're going to find out together. Okay. It is sticky. I'm going to go ahead and use. But you know what, guys? It's not leaving a residue. Okay. Now, it looks like a globby mess. I'm going to shake it down. The things we try to figure out when we don't have good hands to work with. I'm going to leave it like that. I bet you her pan was much smaller than this. We're going to see I'm going to put it over on the stove, and I'm going to let it rise again about 30 minutes. And we're just going to see, guys. Now, she baked hers on 350. I wanted to show you my sheet pan dinner. I've got chicken sausage. Of course, you saw the carrots that I got out of the garden. I've got 1 sweet potato, a red bell, a yellow bell, purple onion, and a little bit of cabbage that we had harvested a few days ago. I mixed it up. I put a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and a little lemon pepper. And then I used a small lemon, and I squeezed the lemon juice over it and gave it a good work over. Because some of you may ask, what's my sheet pan dinner? And since the video really wasn't on that, I figured I'd just share with you what I put in here. It's just a medley. And I'm doing the chicken sausage because y'all know that I was introduced to that chicken sausage, was it 2 years ago at Aldi's? I absolutely love that chicken sausage. So I was quite pleased that the carrots and the cabbage came from the garden. Not bad, you know, not bad at all. But that's going to make a lot, guys. And that's all we're going to have, and hopefully a piece of bread. Hopefully. But if not, this is our supper, and it's going to lend us a snack tomorrow for lunch. And then we have chili. We have white bean soup already cooked, sitting in the icebox, so it'll be easier to heat up. But yeah, that's our sheet pan dinner for tonight. And it looks like a lot, but guys, it's not even, it's about halfway full, see, of this bowl. But plenty to get our belly full with a big bowl. And hopefully some bread. Oh, and when I get it on the sheet pan, I'm going to sprinkle it with fresh grated parm. Mr. Buddy loves it. And I'm going to cook it on 425, some of you may ask. So, just simple sheet pan dinner. I got the oven preheating. We're sitting at 196. We got to go to 350. It rose for 45 minutes, but it's also cool in the house. I could have put it in my oven and put bread proof on there, but you know, Lippy forgot her oven can do that. So, but it has risen 3/4 of the way of the pan. So I'm thinking my pan was a little bit too large. So I'm going to go into my pan cabinet, and I'm going to pull out a couple of more, and we can kind of get a visual of what size it needs to be in. Provided I followed the lady's directions. I mean, we're talking about hand scratch, okay? So we shall see, but it's going to go in the oven at 350. She said 20 to 25 minutes, so it won't be long. We'll be able to see what kind of bread we got. Okay, guys, it took 25 minutes. Now, I'm going to let it sit here and rest. But I think, if you think about it, I think this was the size pan she used. And it's much shallow. Yeah, it's much more shallow. And then it would have risen. So, I don't know. I would say this is more like a 3x8. I don't know. But I'm going to let it rest a few minutes, and then I'm going to flip it out, and we're going to see what this bread tastes like. I'm about to cut us a piece, okay? Now, I've already got my sheet pan. I don't know why I'm calling it a sheet pan. I always cook it in my large iron skillet. But I've got it cooking. I started to wait and show the bread when our supper came out. But it's 4:30, internet just come on, back on. So I know I need to hurry up and upload before we have a problem. They did put us under a winter warning now. We were under a winter advisory. Now we're under a winter warning. Got to get a napkin. Okay, I'm going to drop the camera. We're going to look at the texture of the bread. It's very thin, but we know that I used too large of a pan. Okay. Here's the bread. I mean, it's soft. It doesn't feel gummy. It does feel a little heavy, though. Let's just see. It's got a good taste. That salt was the right amount. And I don't know if she said a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. What did I do, a teaspoon and a half? It's not bad, guys. I would have to work with the recipe a little bit more, but it's better than no bread, right? So I will try it with my grain. I'm just curious. Probably going to add a little bit more yeast. It's got a good taste. It's not chewy. Not bad. Not bad at all. Actually, what we don't eat, I'm going to cube up and make croutons. It is the perfect, yes. I could actually cut it up, put a little olive oil, some garlic powder on there. It's got enough salt, and make croutons. But we get to have some bread with our supper tonight. And that's going to make Buddy happy. It won't go to waste at all. That second bite was even better. So yeah, not too bad. It's got a little bit of heaviness to it though. You know, of course, we didn't work it, remember? Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this recipe. Tweak it a little bit. And if nothing else, I can tell you now, the best crouton recipe. No lie. No lie. And what do I have in this? Really nothing. Water, 2 cups of flour, some yeast, a little sugar and salt. I mean, there's no money in this. This would make a lot of croutons. So I think that's what I will do. I'll tweak it a little more, try another loaf and see what I think. But I'm going to rewrite it and I'm going to call it my crouton recipe because it is that good. And that 1.5 teaspoons salt, that's the mark. I won't change that. And I really think she had a teaspoon on here. Yeah, 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon sugar, 1 teaspoon yeast, 1 cup water, 2 cups all-purpose flour. So that little extra salt, I like that. But guys, if you are in the path of this winter storm warning that is going from Texas through Central, all the way across, I don't think it's going to run up the East Coast. They're saying it's going to take itself out to the waters, and I hope that it does. So you guys that was already in the first path, the second, now this one, I hope it just sweeps right over very, very fast and doesn't, you know, pile up more ice and snow for you guys. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And thank you all for spending the day with me. I appreciate it.